Welcome to the low mid budget watch report, and today we're going to react to Jory Goodman's ridiculous take on a watch brand name. I think it's Templar or something. I don't know. Let's check it out.
When it comes to microbrand watches, let's face it, most of them are different iterations on dive watches and sports watches, but let's take a look at something different, right? Let's take a look at a microbrand dress watch. More specifically, the Equus.
That's a really nice box, by the way. I haven't heard of them before. Equus.
We'll just call it the Templar. Here it is. It is 3:41 p.m. Let's get down to business. So as you take a look at this watch, the first thing you will notice is this big gold thing down here. This is not a tourbillon. This is an open heart, and I will say it's quite...
Looks like an AliExpress watch, to be honest, but you know, different taste for different buttocks. I don't know what you say in English.
Quite a fancy take on one with a lot of decoration there. I know not everybody is a huge fan of open heart watches. I'll get into that in the pros and cons. And then you'll see another complication right around the 12 o'clock, and that is not a moon phase indicator. It is actually...
Get to the point.
Pros and cons. We're going to be talking about that later. But first, let's jump into the specs. So this watch is 43 millimeters when we're looking at the diameter. Its lug to lug is 49.9, so just under 50 millimeter lug to lug. This has a...
It actually looks okay, you know, a bit thick, but you know what I'm saying? Let's get to the business.
A 3-bar water resistance rating, case thickness 13 millimeters, although I do not trust that. I don't trust.
Yes.
A little bit. Maybe they trust.
You don't trust the Catholic watch.
Right. They were off a little bit. Maybe they were not counting. And shock resistant, and again, I said 3-bar water resistance rating. We can be sure this band material leather. You have black leather, gray leather, tan, or brown. I'm talking about the strap later. I know that's not saying much because, you know, Seiko strap. Ugh. Now, when it comes to the name of this watch, the Templar...
yeah, I also noticed that, you know, Jory has become a Seiko hater, you know what I'm saying? First he became a Timex hater, and now he's also a Seiko hater. And he is a well-known Houdinki hater. But let's go on.
The watchmaker has a little blurb about this watch that I should read, and I quote, "Named after the poor fellow soldiers of Christ in the Temple of Solomon, also known as the Order of Solomon's Temple, the Knights Templar, or simply the Templars, was a Catholic military. Their code of conduct was designed to keep the warrior knights humble, chaste, and most of all, obedient. This collection honors these brave knights." Now, here's the thing.
That is kind of cheesy, you know, to put that stuff on a on a watch brand. Like, who cares about the Templars if you're buying a watch, you know? It's kind of cheesy, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I don't see anything wrong with it, though.
On the surface, Knights Templar seem very, very cool, and they're very prominent in pop culture. Excuse me, pop culture. I almost said Pope culture. You'll see that Freudian slip there. When I think Knights Templar, I think of like Indiana Jones. All right, I mean, there's obviously some very, very deep historical significance, and I was almost hesitant to read that blurb because I feel like by ending it on "this collection honors these brave knights," that's skewing it very, very positive, and I'm sure a large portion of the commenters will be upset if I also don't bring up the other side. But if I
actually believe that a large portion of the people watching the Jory Goodman time teller show does not have a specific opinion about the Templars, neither bad or good, you know. Most people don't care about it. It's a very old history, but Well, let's go.
I also bring up too much negativity, then people will be like, no, they did some good things.
It's not like it was recent war. It's not like, the Balkan wars or, not even the Second World War. It's not about, recent times. So I think people actually are not very upset if you're talking down or you're talking upping the Templars. I don't think that's a big issue, but well, let's go on. Go on.
2. So, okay, we're going to be covering not just the watch, but I'm going to be giving you a little bit of a history lesson. And don't get mad at me if I'm wrong. I found most of this on historychannel.com. Jewish person talking about the Pope, about the Pope. No, the smart thing would be to probably not, say one thing or the other, but I'm not smart, so I'm going to try to give you my take, according to historychannel.com. Not a sponsor, but if they wanted to pay me, come on, let's do it. There were some cool things about the Knights Templar, okay? They were founded to protect pilgrims in the Middle East. Now, why the pilgrims were there in the first place, I don't know. I wasn't there. Some of my family members were a long, long time ago.
No, none of your family members were in where the Templars were a long time ago, because, maybe your ancestor was there, but none of your family was. I don't know if you're using the wrong word or am I misunderstanding this, but family is family, and ancestors are ancestors. Yeah.
And I'm sure I would have probably had a lot more family members if the Templars didn't kill them!
No. Maybe Jory Goodman is just, joking around. I don't know why he's talking like this. Family members.
We'll talk about that in a second. The Templars provided a vast amount of banking and financial services for people in that era, and they were quite helpful to people in that era in regards to holding on to assets and investing and, again, just simple banking needs. Very, very interesting. When we think Knights Templar, we think of warriors, but most of them are just nerdy bankers. Another cool thing is they use...
I mean, this was such a long time ago. Even your Goodman's ancestors could have been Christian or could have been a Templar or could have been a Muslim or whatever. It was such a long time ago. People mix very much. So I'm not sure your Goodman's ancestors, all of them, was even Jewish that long time ago. But go on, Jory.
Used a secret cipher to communicate, which again brings in the Jews talking about Catholics. And finally, they were against abusing alcohol. So that's positive, right? I mean, I don't even drink. Not that Jews don't drink. Jews definitely drink. Most of our holidays are surrounded by drinking. Just a thing. Personal thing. The truth is...
That is true. I remember when I was in my youth, when I was young. On Christmas Eve, later at night, you could actually go to a Jewish party because they don't, of course, celebrate Christmas. So they had some Jewish disco or something in downtown. They had there were lots of Jews celebrating, and they had a big party on Christmas Eve later at night. So actually I went there once with a couple of friends, and it was like a party. Yeah.
If I ever did drink, I'm scared of what I might do. I'm scared of that.
Everybody's scared what this guy would do if he drinks. He's crazy all the time. He talks a lot of crazy stuff, conspiracy theories and everything. Imagine if he was drunk, man. Yeah, it would be a crazy show. Actually, that would be a good show. So maybe Jory should go and drink sometime and have a live show or something. That would be funny.
My negative qualities might come out. I work too hard. I love too much. I care too hard.
You don't care about the employees of Timex and Seiko. You don't care about, the Houdinki staff.
Just kidding. If I drunk, if I drank, I'd be a liability. If I drunk, I'd be a liability. So if we leave it at that, the cool services they did, the protection they provided, the secret codes, the Da Vinci Code, the no alcohol, and these brave warrior nights, they seem really, really awesome, and they shouldn't be controversial at all, right? But like the thing is, like the one thing is like this, the Crusades. It's like that happened. So I feel like we should probably also talk about that. Because this was not insignificant, okay? During the Crusades, there's an estimated 5 million people that died. So, I mean, that ain't chump change. You see, in 1095, Pope Urban II called upon Christians in Europe to go to war in the Middle East to reclaim the Holy Land, because God willed it, according to him. Unfortunately, what God willed was apparently going to the Middle East and killing Jews and Muslims in and around Jerusalem, which is wild to me, because it's like you're going to reclaim the Holy Land, but you had to go there from Europe to take it from the people that were already there, right? Like the Jews and Muslims.
That were already there. All the religions all the Abrahamic religions comes from the Middle East. So yeah, Christianity was already there too. So don't get confused about that. They all have Abraham as the same spiritual source. So they all confess to Abraham as a prophet. So it's just stupid to say that the Christians didn't have anything to do with the Middle East, man. That's just crazy talking, man. Jory, you're crazy, man. You're crazy.
Muslims were already there. So you, as Europeans, are going there to reclaim something that you didn't really have in the first.
Yeah, but Christianity came from somewhere, and it came from Middle East to Europe. So why did you come? Why did Christianity come to Europe in the first place? Yeah, because people migrate all the time. That's how the world looks. You can be a globalist and be against migration and immigration, and but shit's gonna happen. I didn't know Jory was such a anti-globalist, but.
First place, but what do I know? And then in 1145, Pope Eugene III announced a second crusade because the first one wasn't good enough. And there were 3 crusader states established in the area. Now, during this second crusade, the Muslim armies in the area actually were pretty well prepared this time, and they had some hard-fought victories. But still, tons of Christians, Muslims, and Jews died because of this. Now, I should point out, again, I'm a little bit biased because I personally am Jewish, but during both...
And you have nothing to do with these people back in the days, Yeah, and if you say, that's your family back then, did your family kill Jesus Christ? Did they? I'm just asking because that's what Mel Gibson says.
Instances of the First and Second Crusade, Jews in Europe were horrifically persecuted, some losing their lives and the rest having their livelihoods just destroyed. But the horror didn't end there because, of course, there was a Third Crusade. And during this Third Crusade in 1189, European leadership claimed they were protecting Jews. And that's why you can read online of the Knights Templar protecting Jews, whether it be in Europe or in Jerusalem. But here's the thing. The European leadership only wanted to protect the Jews because when you look at the fine print, they were putting taxes specifically on Jews so that the Jews could use their money to fund the war effort. And again, this war effort was unfortunately killing Jews and a ton of Muslims and ultimately a bunch of Christians. They died too. So it's war is bad. So if you couldn't tell, I think that...
Yeah, war is bad, and people from all the Abrahamic religions died. So, that was the time back then. It was a lot of wars. If we didn't have wars back then, it would be like already overpopulated world would be even more overpopulated. good for the climate, I guess.
This whole situation is pretty f***ed up, at least what I've read about it.
They did something good for the climate if it's true that they killed millions, you know. It's a bad thing, but also a positive thing, you know. You have to have different angles, different perspectives.
And I'm sure you guys out there know much more than me about this situation, but...
Personally, I'm anti-war, you know. Anti-war.
Bottom line, a whole bunch of people from a whole bunch of different ethnicities lost their lives. And by the way, even though the Knights Templar were like holy knights that had their allegiance with the Pope, it was Pope Clement V that in 1307 turned on the Templars, rounded them up, had them tortured until they gave false confessions, and then once they did those false confessions, they just were all killed. They were like burned at the stake and stuff. So I'm telling you guys,
yeah, all except Robin Hood, he survived. According to the movie with Russell Crowe.
Be your own people, right? It's always your own people. So I guess the moral of the story is if some people in places of authority tell you to do something so that you can get your hands dirty and then you effectively do what they told you to do, they're going to turn around, use you as a scapegoat and a patsy. They're going to kill you, and then they're going to just have their hands wiped perfectly clean because they didn't have to do anything other than kill you. But anyway, this dress watch, again, pretty unique when it comes to its design, and it's definitely...
It looks like an AliExpress dress watch. Well, I can see Jory Goodman's point of this. It's kind of funny with a, big background story to the, watch review. Yeah, I can see this. I can see why he did this. Even though maybe it's... wrong in some aspects. I can see the entertainment value in this. Yeah.
Definitely something that is polarizing, much like the Crusades. It all made sense in the end.
But the Crusades aren't that polarizing, I don't think people go around and think much about the Crusades, and imagine if when I reviewed that sterling watch, if I was about to talk about, that rabbi who make the sterling watch, maybe he should talk to his friends in Israel about all the stuff they do to the Palestinians, taking their land and not letting them travel free and all of that stuff, all the sanctions and all the bombings on Palestine. Maybe the rabbi who makes sterling should be more aware of the injustice that are taking place in the Gaza Strip. Yeah, but I'm sure he has nothing to do with it because he's a rabbi in New York. But you shouldn't take these things so far. Some people just make watches, and it doesn't have to be political or anything. But going back to the Templars, that's not even political. It's just very old history, and no one could be held to account for the happenings back then, because we don't even know whose ancestors were Jews or Christian or Muslims. Even my ancestors could have been Muslims. I don't know. Back then, all the mixing that has been since then to this day is, I don't think you can hold anyone responsible for events that took place that long time ago. But go on, Jory.
Sad. So when we look super close at the dial, we see a very captivating Guillaume.
And no, my ancestors were, of course, Vikings. Not even Jewish, Christians, or Muslims. My ancestors were pure Vikings. I'm I have a clean line of Viking blood. Yeah.
J pattern.
I'm saying
again,
it's possible that I could be wrong too.
It's a very clean dial from what I can see. Now, when we flip the watch over, we can see that most likely Miyota movement. And I wouldn't say there's a ton of decoration here. In fact, there are some discernible like tool marks.
Actually, according to Jory, it was not even my ancestor that was Vikings. My family were Vikings and went to England and actually killed people. My family actually went, according to Jory, to England and killed priests. But well, this is the ridiculous take on this watch. I don't know if the watch is good or anything. It seems kind of nice, but it looks a little bit AliExpress. You know what I'm saying? Looks a little bit Alibaba. But yeah, if you like these types of watches, these types of dress watches with, you know, open heart, and yeah, maybe this is a watch for you. Actually, I kind of like it a little bit, you know. And I like that it's named Templar. That's crazy, man. Maybe I'll buy one just to upset the Jory Goodman. Well, yeah. Well, that was a crazy take on a AliExpress microbrand type of watch, you know. But yeah, I guess some people will like the Templar and some people will not. Personally, I don't think the watch. I don't know. I don't know. I won't buy one in a near future, anyhow. But yeah, that was the Jory Goodman's crazy take. Always a conspiracy. Everything is a conspiracy, dude. Houdinky wants the world to cock wives, and you know the time makes are just a homage brand, and yeah. Well, I'm not a hater of Jory Goodman. I actually like the Jory Goodman Time Teller show, so, but I just think it's funny, and I just need to, you know, react to these type of with these type of shows because they are funny, you know. It's all just for fun. I actually prefer Jory Goodman to Nico Leonard, so yeah, whatever. Well, that was funny. Peace.